Hello, everybody out there. What's going on here? Welcome to Fresh and Lean, our continued series about the optimized human. My name is Mike Martirano, your host and concierge for this conversation we got kicking off pretty soon. We're going to be welcoming in Jose Pasillas, co-founding member of the band Incubus, multi-platinum award-winning artist with over 23 million albums sold, over a billion streams worldwide, 4 number one singles on the Billboard Alternative Chart, including Drive, Megalomaniac, Animali, and Love Hurts. 4 number one albums on the Billboard charts, multiple worldwide tours playing at stadium levels. Jose is going to be teaching us a whole bunch of tips and tricks and what he does to stay fit and well, and how he just continues to be a creative spirit out there. There he is.
What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for cracking some time here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No problem.
Yeah.
Just getting my life together right now, so just hold on a sec.
Dude, that's why it's live.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so funny because we just talked on the phone a million times. We didn't actually get to meet in person because we got connected through our buddy Nikki Six.
Yeah.
Through a hey, can you hook up my buddy Jose? He's into your meals. How did Nikki turn you on to us actually?
Me, my wife, and my daughter went to Wyoming to go visit them. I think it was like almost a year ago, last April.
Mm-hmm.
Last spring we went there. And, we were just out there hanging out, checking them out in their new spot. And Nikki was eating, he was busting out these meals from time to time and telling me about them. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty like a, I mean, you see a lot of these meal companies out these days, and I've never really looked into them, but once I kind of saw it and tried it, I was sold, man. So I was like, hook me up. So he introduced us, and it's been a cool relationship. I mean, it's been 7 or 8 months since I've been doing it, and it's been pretty amazing.
Fantastic. I think you've tried every meal by now, so it's always good. You give us great feedback on it all. So we appreciate you having out there and being able to enjoy it and getting into it. So,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, which I'm sure there's not many that are sitting here checking this out, I got to give you all your props, of course. As a founding member of the multi-platinum selling Grammy-nominated band Incubus, over 23 million albums sold, a billion streams worldwide, 4 singles on the Billboard Alternative Chart, including Drive, Megalomaniac, Animali, and Love Hurts. 4 number one albums, 8 full-length studio albums, and there's probably a continent right now that you haven't played on. So you are a legit rock star, brother, and it's so awesome to have you here.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited. I was excited. I was looking forward to doing this for a while now.
So cool. So now, obviously, most people know you as a drummer for the Grammy-nominated Incubus. But let's talk about your resume a little bit more. You're a recognized photographer, an artist, a cycling fanatic. Every time I talk to you, you're just coming off a ride or going on another ride. What drives you, man? Like you've achieved so much. What drives you?
I don't know exactly what drives me. Since I was a little kid, I've always known what I like to do, whether it was skateboarding, drawing, then playing music, cycling. As soon as I find something that appeals to me, I go all the way, so I go full force. Art is just sort of, in me, and it kind of manifests itself through drawing, through drums and playing music, photography. So it's just an outlet for me, and I'm passionate about all of it. So I want to do all of those things all the time. So I kind of, spend my days doing that. When I'm not touring and playing music, I'm kind of filling up my time with all the other creative outlets, and I always bookend that with my family, and it's just it's a great release for me in all forms. Cycling, of course, is mind, body, spirit. It's a great stress relief. And I just want to do all those things all the time, man. So I just keep busy with it,
When we were checking out your website, your store, Jose Pasillas, Shopify.com, you mentioned the word bold. What does bold mean to you, and how can a creative be bolder? Like, is it about taking risks? Is it finding the boundary and then going, I'm going over that boundary? What do you think? What does bold mean?
I mean, for me, it's always pushing those boundaries. I think musically speaking, we've always pushed those boundaries. We've never really fit in any sort of genre. We've always sort of been, left of center, and really I would say we're a rock band, but it's really hard to define what we do. And we just sort of know what we love musically, and we kind of put it all together. And we've gotten better at making it more seamless throughout the years. But it's definitely about pushing the boundaries, and it's really about pushing yourself. It's
Sure.
like bold in your intent. You gotta push past those boundaries. And even when you're in self-doubt, which is for me all the time, you just gotta push back that. And that takes courage. You've got to be bold with what you're doing, and make mistakes, work through them, and just keep going forward. That's my whole thing, is just keep moving, keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
You'll fall back, and you just pick it right back up and keep going.
With your life being so full of creative outlets, music, art, photography, shots from the saddle is what you call it on your IG.
Views from my saddle.
Views from my saddle. Yeah, I love that. Can you tell us a little about what that creative process is, and does it differ with music versus your visual arts?
It's the same in that it's when I'm out on my bike, and I always carry, a little point and shoot camera with me, and I live in the Santa Monica Mountains. So I live in such an ideal cycling world, and an incredibly beautiful area. So when I'm riding my bike, I'm just always like amazed at my surrounding,
Mm-hmm.
So I always carry a camera, and I always just sort of like, my views on my seat are always spectacular. So I'm always shooting, and I'm just like, that's a great shot. So I take a picture of that. When I'm on my drums, I'm like, if I'm listening to music, or if I'm just, sort of playing beats in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to go and play that and sort of riff off of that. And just, it starts evolving from there. Art's the same thing. I get inspired with an idea, and, I just sort of build upon that. So I think all of it sort of comes from the same place. It's just another branch of expression for myself, and I think just being creative is it's just in me through and through. So I've been lucky to find multiple outlets for it, and I hope to do more things. I'm kind of putting a collection of my photos together to try to book. And
Awesome.
That's pretty overwhelming, because I have thousands upon thousands of pictures. And so, but I'm going through them just going, wow, there's some really cool, like, viewpoints, vantage points from where, I'm sitting. And so, I'm just looking to be more creative and to put things out. People are like, you need to put out a book. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
It'd be time, probably too.
Yeah, I'm working on all those things slowly,
We're so, like, there's a lot of people out there, obviously, who simply believe that they're not creative. They can't draw a straight line. They have nothing. They just feel like they're just not creative. What roadblocks do you think keep people from tapping into their creative side? What is it? What would you say if somebody who says to you, like, hey, I'm not creative, I want to do something like you do? Where would you guide them to? Like, where would you tell them to look, listen, feel to get into a creative mind, even though they don't think they have it?
Yeah, it's tough. For me, I think everyone has that creative bone in them. It's just whether it's been sort of harnessed and worked on. I mean, you have to work on any craft, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people just never tried. They didn't grow up, doodling on a piece of paper, or in a little drawing sketch pad, or didn't have a guitar laying around, or some drums or percussion or something, something where, like, let me go over here and see what I can do with this, and for me, it's just, you kind of just have to follow your intuition, For me, I'm very much follow your gut,
Sure.
I get in my head all the time, which all the time. And I think that's what stops people the most is contemplating, well, I've never done it before, or it's been done, or I'm not going to be any good at it. It's really just allowing yourself some time and some space and experiments, and you only start becoming, better when you put time, have time. So really just find a space of inspiration. I find it all around me. I find it with music. I find it with, shows that I watch. I find it by cycling, and traveling. I have inspiration all around me all the time. It's there. You just got to tap into it. People start disconnected,
To tap into that creative flow, do you have any strategy to, like, I feel something coming, I need to tap into this, I'm going to go and ride and see what comes out of it, I'm going to go play drums, or I'm just going to write, or I'm going to talk to the, my creative partners out there that I work with? Is there any like go-to strategy that you have? Not
really. It's just kind of jumping on it at that moment,
Okay. Awesome.
So, like, I have a music room in my house. So if I feel inspired to do something, I just go up and start doing it. When I'm drawing or painting and I have an idea, a lot of times I get on my computer and I start messing around, but like a simple sketch, and then I'll put it to canvas, or I'll just do a graphic design type of thing. It's really jumping on that inspiration for myself right there and then, because it's fleeting. It'll go just as quick as it came.
Sure.
So really, it's just jumping on that moment. It's like grabbing it and running with it. And even if you can't complete something, but you've tapped into it, you can always come back to it later, and I'm also on my bike for many hours every single week. And I'm always just like thinking about ideas all the time. I'm just, that's sort of like my therapist couch is and my creative couch, I'm just thinking of what I can do. If we're writing music, I'm constantly thinking of the riffs and like playing beats to it. And, it's just, I'm constantly, everyone's thinking at all times, but I'm trying to just keep those creative juices flowing, whatever medium that may be,
Keeping those creative juices flowing. How would you say nutrition plays a part in that optimizing of your performance, and how do, like, what you eat, do you feel may impact or positively on your creativity?
I definitely think so. My dietary and food choices as of late have evolved, and I really started thinking about my health as a whole maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, as I started becoming just more active on my bike, playing drums. I need fuel.
Sure.
So I tried to eat as responsible as possible. You always have to leave room for, your cheat day.
Of course.
Whenever you want, because to completely keep that from yourself is not good at all.
Nah, absolutely.
So I like to eat as clean as possible. I like to eat proteins and vegetables. And what I love about Fresh and Lean is like they're perfect. Like all my macros are like measured out. They're all like balanced, and it's a great meal. And I'm on the go all the time as well. Yeah. So super easy for me to throw those in and then take it out. And what I love about it is I know I'm eating proper. I know I'm getting the proteins and the carbs and the oils and the fats and all that stuff that I need. And I always feel good after eating. If I eat like crap, I feel like crap afterwards.
Yep.
My taste buds are firing and it's amazing. And I'm like, this is incredible. 20 minutes later, I feel it, And
yep.
so I kind of like space my time out so I kind of forget how bad I feel. And then, if I need another cheat day, I go ahead and do that.
Sure. Absolutely. And, with you touring for so many years, I mean, the band started in 91, if I'm not mistaken. That's 30 years. That's 30 years from backyard parties to stadiums around the world. Like, that's got to take a toll on your body. And I know fitness is important to you, obviously. What are your go-to routines? Like, I gotta get, you know, a 20-minute ride in today. I gotta lift for 30 minutes. I gotta do this week. Like, what are your kind of go-to, cannot fall off the calendar type workouts or routines, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm at home, I'm very much a creature of habit. I have my routines, and my sort of health routine. I'm always on the bike, usually 3 days a week. You know, I try to 150 miles a week. Off days, you know, I'm doing weightlifting, because being on a bike, you know, it's like, it's mostly cardio. I mean, there is a in there too, but you can start to atrophy a little bit, you know, in the muscles and even the bones. So I try to offset that by weightlifting. So on the off days, you know, I do, you know, core and weightlifting for an hour, you know, hour and a half. And then if I usually just have like a day off, but I listen to my body too. If I'm tired,
Smart.
give myself a day off. But I just have like, I feel like I need to be active. And I think, you know, addiction and alcoholism runs deep in myself. So, you know, I definitely feel that a lot of that has to do with chemical imbalances and stuff like that. So I've kind of found a way to, an alternative to Western medicines, you know, and that's and supplementing a lot of those endorphins with physical activity. And it's worked for a lot of years.
That's great.
It's an integral part of my life. You know, I feel good, you know, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, and it's mind, body, and spirit, you know, so it's all combined, and it's all important, you know.
I mean, I look at the stats that you've racked up over 30 years, your creative outlets, everything you touch is very successful. So I think it would be interesting for people to know, like, what keeps chasing the dream. I mean, you could just post up, kick back at the house, and just do you, very simply. What keeps you chasing? Like, all right, guys, when are we doing the next record? All right, you talked about your photos that you're going to do a book. What keeps that fire burning on a day-to-day basis?
I feel good when I do all those things, you know? And so I think it's wanting to have that feeling, you know. I'm very good at being idle. So, you know, every day I kind of have my weekly, monthly, yearly goals. So really just to try to complete those goals. And, you know, I want to see, can I ride 500 miles this year? You know, can I ride 200 miles this month, you know, this week, you know, whatever it is, you know, they may sound small and insignificant or funny or whatever, but for myself, you know, I'm kind of like trying to attain all these little goals. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, I have that motivation, you know. And when I give myself time to like not do anything, after a day or two, I'm like, I got to get out. I have to do something. It's just built in me, you know, and I'm sure there'll be a time where I'll want to do nothing for weeks on ends, if not months on ends. Who knows, you know, when I get there, but I like to stay active. You know, I feel like I just got to be active. So I stay active.
That's amazing. And when you do want to breathe, how do you unwind and recharge? You know, whether it's you've been on the road for 6 months, 4 months, or you've been out on multiple rides, what's the unwind recharge move for you, for the family? What do you do?
We travel in our Airstream a bunch, you know, and even if it's local, we stay pretty local for the most part. We spend a lot of time in Santa Barbara and Santa Barbara County, and we just post up, you know, we post up for days. My daughter learns remote, so we can go anywhere. And her classroom is usually, you know, a cliffside overlooking the beach or in some beautiful setting. So that's definitely, you know, for us, something we love to do. We're passionate about it, and it is a stress relief. And I'm always bringing my bike. That's my number one, like, go-to when I need to blow off some steam. You know, not only can I blow off steam, but I get inspired, and I'm staying fit, you know, and I think it keeps me sharp too, you know, being physically active. So, yeah.
We'd like to talk a little bit about what wisdom you can impart on people that are watching right now, or people who may read about this or catch this later. For those who are trying to develop their creative spark, what wisdom can you impart on them?
I mean, when I get asked that, it's really put in time, whatever your craft may be, whatever you want to do is just put in time, you know, and you'll see yourself improving. And I think it's just like that cyclical sort of thing. You want to do it more, you see yourself evolving and growing, you want to do it more, and it just keeps going, hopefully, you know. And that may branch out to other creative outlets, you know. Like for me, I have a multitude of ways to be creative, you know, and I think it sort of started with drawing. Then I started playing drums, and then I started doing photography. So really, it's just putting in time. You know, you got to practice your craft, you know, just put in time and you only get better. You know, it's like we've been a band for 30 years, and I feel like we still have yet to write our best song or our best music. You know, I think that it's an infinite, you know, you can never reach the end. You know, that's the great thing about life in general. You can just keep going. So as long as you put in the time and take it serious with a good sense of humor too, you know, there really is no limit, you know, which is kind of, you hear it all the time. And I think a lot of people really, it's just sort of like this thing up here. Yeah, the sky's the limit, but you can really push yourself and attain what you want, you know. And I think you need to do small goals and just slowly start chipping away at those things. And you know, that's the trajectory you want to be on.
That's beautiful, man. When you think about last year, are there any artist albums that you want to turn the audience onto right now that you were like, hey, check these guys out, we dig them? Or is there anybody out there right now that you're like, I would love to get on the road with them or collaborate like you guys did with Skrillex not too long ago? Or is there anybody out there that kind of pops in your mind? If not, you can get back to us on that. No stress.
Yeah. You know, for me, like the past year and a half, I mean, I'm kind of like this in general. I'm very much, I love my catalog of music, and whenever I'm working in, you know, my art studio or cycling, I just have things on shuffle. And so I'm sort of been finding old music that I haven't listened to in a long time, getting inspired by those old things again. And it just amazes me that I can listen to a record that I haven't listened to in, you know, 5-10 years, and I'm like, wow, that I can see why that it inspired me 10 years ago, you know. And so
absolutely,
I listen to everything on shuffle, you know. I kind of mix everything up. So as far as anything new, I've been sort of out of the loop with music coming out, but I kind of feel like, you know, I'm being pulled to start discovering again newer stuff, because the old stuff is always there and it's always inspiring to me. So I got to start doing some digging on the new stuff too.
Me too. So we'll have to compare some notes. I'm kind of the same as you right now. I know what I like and I go to that, but I got to start pushing the boundaries as well and kind of tapping the ears with some new stuff for sure. Where do you see the future of music? I mean, you guys started in '91, the peak of the format of the CD, right into the digital age. You guys have kept on going. What do you see for the future of it? Is it a lot more licensing, sync deals? Where do you see for the future?
You know, I don't know. I know that we enjoy playing music. We enjoy writing music. So I think the plan for 2022 for us as a band, we have some shows coming up. We've been putting together a shed tour that we postponed from 2021 or 2020, actually. So we're putting that together for this year. And I think we're just going to keep continuing. We're going to get together. We're going to write some music. We're going to play some shows. We got some shows coming up in March. And, you know, it's kind of amazing that we can spend a lot of time apart and still want to get together and write music. And I think a big part of that is that time apart. Everyone is doing their own thing, their own projects, family lives, you know, apart from our band life. And that's a really important part for us, maintaining us wanting to be in a band, you know. So I think we've done a pretty good job with that, but I look forward to get back in the studio, playing our old songs, messing around with new songs, you know. all you have to do is put us in a room and we just start jamming. We have that chemistry. We've had it for forever, and it never gets old. It's pretty remarkable that 30 years later, inspired by the same group of guys I've been playing with for decades, you know.
That's amazing. You know, I also want to make sure everybody knows to head over to incubushq.com for those upcoming tour dates, March 18th to the 26th. I want to talk a little bit about what's in your store. When people head over to the Jose Pasillas store, what can they find? What do you got in there? What are you excited about for products that you've been making and putting together?
Yeah, so for the most part, I've got two stores that are linked together. I have a bunch of canvas collections that I did. That's a combination of my photography, and I've collaborated with this company, Scene 4. They do some really cool stuff, but it's pretty abstract art. And I did a collection with them, I think, in 2013, where I'm playing with sticks that are lit up in the dark, and there's like 20-second exposures. So after music, it makes this incredible abstract image. So I did a collection with that. Then I think a few years ago, I did a collection with that combined with my photography. So there's those collections, or one of them. There's the first collection. There aren't any more prints of those, but the second collection, there's some prints left there. There's also my shop for clothing. It's mostly just stuff that I do on my computer. Like I love graphic design. I'm self-taught, you know, so, but it's super fun. You know, I love to do it, and it's a fun hobby of mine. So there's a bunch of stuff there. I'm putting it on cycling kits. So I have a whole bunch of cycling kits with my designs on there. Yeah, and just some collaborations I've done with like Remo drum and percussion. Some percussive stuff with them, and you know, just odds and ends, good stuff.
That's great. I hope everybody heads over there, checks it out. I'm so excited that we got to do this today and finally like talk. We advanced our relationship to actually seeing each other now. So, you know, we can thank Nikki for connecting us. And I was thinking about it on the way in this morning. I said, I guess in a way Nikki kind of opened for you in this case of he was the opening act for you headlining this run right now. So,
and he's such a good dude, man. He's so like motivational. He's so inspiring.
Absolutely.
He's a great dude. So I'm glad that he's in both of our worlds, you know.
Totally. Well, if you need anything from us, let us know. Thanks again. I think we may have had one question pop in. Can I roll a question from a audience member over to you? I think my team is coming up with it right now. Looking at the questions being, you know, do you take down all of your thoughts, whether pictures or song beat ideas? You use the voice memo on your phone a lot. I guess what the question is, you know, when you have thoughts, ideas, like how do you scribble those down? Do you voice record them? Or is it just kind of banked in the back of your head? I guess somebody out there is looking for some tips on how to, you know, capture those creative flares. Heck, I'd like to remember any tips and tricks you have to keep an idea in your head so you don't forget the next day.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of the two. Usually if I'm like thinking of something, I kind of burn it in my memory until I get back. But, you know, I've got, you know, a working studio at my house. So if I have an idea, it's really easy for me to just plug and play and record something. Sometimes I use my phone too, you know, like if I want to turn everything on and do all that, I'll just voice memo. That's a really great way of getting something down, you know, so that you don't forget it. It's actually remarkable.
And back little simple recorder basically in our pocket right there at all times for those things.
Yeah.
I know it's interesting. We had a pro snowboarder on recently, Jamie Anderson, and we got on the topic of mental health a little bit. And randomly, this question just popped in from an audience member out there right now, just asking, "Hey, how do you keep mental health on the road? You've been on the road a lot. I've done a little touring here and there in my career. I know what it can kind of be like. But for you on your level, what keeps you mentally clear on the road when you've been out for 6 months and it's venue to venue, hotel to bus, sound check, in, out, interviews, whatever? What do you do for your sanity? Like, I need to get a sanity check before I lose it.
I think that's probably different for everyone, you know, with my bike with me. So I'm on days off, especially, I like to you know, binge on TV shows, ride my bike, eat some good food. I mean, that's really the way I decompress on the road. And it's based it's spaced out enough that it's every few days. So
Perfect.
that's what I do for myself. And if there's a gym, I'll spend some time in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time I'll sit in my hotel room for hours and just sort of veg.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, you got to.
Completely do nothing and recover, you know.
Fantastic. Hey, man, I know you're busy. Look, going through your resume and everything you do on a day-to-day basis. I'll let you go. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Awesome.
If there's anything you need, don't hesitate to get in touch, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, brother. Be good. Bye.